If you're a solopreneur and you just cannot seem to break that six-figure barrier to make at least $100,000 a year, this video is really going to show you a step-by-step process that you can use and really create a framework around to move towards making at least $100,000 a year. Now, just to establish the right expectation in this video, I used to be a solopreneur. Over 2 decades ago, when I started my entrepreneurial journey, I didn't have no money. I didn't even really know what I was doing. I just had this vision that I believed I received from God to start a business, and I wanted freedom. I wanted to be free in my time. I wanted to be free in my money. I wanted to be a blessing to my wife, my children, my church, because I am a pastorpreneur, and I wanted to be a blessing to my community. And I believed that I could do that through a business. It's just that I didn't know these 5 things that I'm about to share with you and how important they would be as I began my entrepreneurial journey. Now, statistically speaking, 9 out of 10 business owners today in the United States of America are considered solopreneurs, meaning that although they own a business like an LLC, but they are the only full-time employee. We're not including their wife that's helping them, or a child, or a cousin, or a sibling that's coming in from time to time. We're just talking about full-time employees. And most of these solopreneurs, because I used to be one, don't even make enough money to pay their own bills. So a solopreneur is someone who owns a business, but they are the only full-time employee, most of whom can't even pay themselves. And almost no solopreneur makes at least $100,000 a year. The average salary for a small business owner who falls into the category of a solopreneur may be about $30,000 to $40,000 a year. And that's before taxes. So they may net $20,000 a year. So that would be an average of about $2,000 a month that they're taking home. That's not a lot of money. Depending on where you live, that ain't no money. But I used to be this person. And this is one of the reasons why I created my Millionaire Blueprint, because I wanted to show my community and people who may have the dreams of freedom like I did over 2 decades ago. I wanted to show them, people like you, how to actually get to at least $100,000 a year. And so I'm going to share with you these 5 things. And these are mistakes that solopreneurs make because they don't have these 5 things. And again, when I first started, I didn't have a formal education. I was just a student of life. I read books, and I learned over time that these were the essential elements, the key components to helping me get to at least $100,000 a year. Now, since then, we're talking about over 2 decades, I've built multiple 6-figure businesses, because once you figure out the framework, you just dial in on it, rinse and repeat, and you can almost automate it most of the time. So let's get into these 5 things. Number 1, if you as a solopreneur want to make at least $100,000 a year, you have to have what we call an MVP. What is an MVP? An MVP is a minimum viable product. Now notice, I do have structure here, but structure ain't the first thing. I thought that too. The first time I started coming up with this idea to start a business, all I'm thinking about is structure, websites, domains. None of that meant nothing. I needed a minimum viable product. Why is that important? Because I started out with my LLC. I paid an accountant to put my LLC together, gave me all this paperwork. And I mean, it was just one thing after the other. I had my corporate seal. I remember leaving this accountant's office and just thinking, I got my corporate book, I'm just ready to go. I didn't even have a minimum viable product. I didn't even know really what I was going to sell, whether it was a product or a service. So MVP is the first thing. You want to have a minimum viable product. So for me, I realized that my first product was me and my wife coming together. She was a real estate agent. I was a handyman. That's the best that I could do. And we came together and we developed an MVP, a minimum valuable product. Now, because she was a licensed real estate agent, she could not run her services as an agent through our first business, but she could at least assist me with the real estate related consulting that we wanted to offer clients. So that was the twist that we put on her being a real estate agent and me being a handyman. We started providing real estate consulting. So even though she would get the commission as an agent, I would get a little piece of the pie as the handyman / consultant. And we offered these services to show them better ways to buy properties at discounts, to sell them at a profit, to fix them up in between. And so that was the first minimum viable product that we had. And we dialed in on it as best as we could. And that's how we started our business. And by the way, I'm saying solopreneur and I'm bringing in my wife with this conversation, but trust me, my wife was not depending totally on me with this business. My wife had her own thing going on with real estate sales, and she was like, listen, until you can afford me to deal with you every day of the week full time, I got to do what I got to do, and you ain't making enough money. And that was a part of my motivation. So you need an MVP. So whether it's a product, physical or digital or both, or whether it's a service, and it could be a little bit of both, you just need to dial in on that minimum viable product. And you've got to have some proof of concept. You got to test it. And you can do this without an entity, by the way, okay? Number 2, S&Ps. S&Ps is short for systems and processes. So think about the main areas of a business. You have marketing, you have sales. Those are the 2 most important, because if you have a minimum viable product, you got to start marketing that product. You got to start having a conversation, getting attention, telling people about it. And then you need a sales process. Now the system comes in because you want to take the information you get from people that you're talking to and you want to put it in some type of system. This is called a CRM, a customer relations management system. So you got systems, you got processes. So once I start marketing, getting people's information, I want to put it in a system. I want to become better at selling people my product and my service and closing them. And I want to gather all that data to track the activities as I get better and better. I also need systems and processes for my finances, like QuickBooks, for my administrative activities, because there's so many other things that I'm doing in my business, especially as a solopreneur, which I teach my clients and students inside of the Millionaire Blueprint how to use 2 systems to cover all of what I just mentioned: marketing, sales, finances, and administrative operations. Number 3, structure. Structure is important, and I'm not just talking about a simple LLC. I teach my people about holding companies, because I believe even if you have a minimum viable product in the form of a product that you're selling or a service that you're providing, that business that you build around the MVP should still be a subsidiary to a holdco, because you as an entrepreneur have so many ideas, you don't want to be bottlenecked with this one business. Or maybe you get bored, or maybe it doesn't work and you need to pivot. Whatever the case is, having a holdco always gives you that leverage to be able to make that move, especially if you have other things that you want to do. So structure is important. Number 4, strategy. Why? Because once you start making money, even if it's $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year, as you climb to get to 100, one of the first problems you're going to have is a tax problem. So you need strategies on how to minimize your taxes, maximize your deductions. And if this MVP is under a holdco and it starts making money, because it's owned by the holdco, this pre-tax money is going here, and it gives you the ability to move it somewhere else before you have to be responsible to pay taxes for it up here. So that's just one important strategy. Taxes. You have other revenue strategies that you want to implement. It could be subscription-based strategies. It could be other contract type strategies, so that you can start moving that dollar amount up to get you to $100,000. And last but not least, I can't even tell you the importance of community. Now, within community, I believe that community needs to be made up of a coach or some type of mentor, colleagues, people that you can start rubbing shoulders with who keep you motivated, that will help with the momentum to get you to $100,000. These are all the things I didn't know over 2 decades ago when I first got started. But once I started learning these things and started implementing them and executing them, it changed everything. And as I said, we're over 20 years in. I built multiple 6-figure businesses just using these 5 steps of a process that I'm talking to you about. So I would encourage you to learn more about what I just mentioned. We do have an online educational and coaching program that literally covers all this. One of the promises I made to myself and to God once I started figuring this out was I'm going to build a platform to give other solopreneurs who have vision, who may be like me in ministry, who have passion, who want freedom. I'm going to build a platform to give them an opportunity to learn not just what to do, but learn how to do it, because I believe if you get the how to, you will implement it. So click the link in the description, take advantage of the opportunity to get access to all of the courses, the weekly coaching calls, to be a part of a community, to learn how to put your MVP together, your S&Ps, your structure, your strategy, and how to literally cross that 6-figure barrier and make at least $100,000 a year. I'll see you in the next video.